Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. I just wanted to provide some context before we get into the renovation of this tank. So Genji is my bearded dragon. He is 6 years old. I've had him since he was a baby, and he's always been in a 40 to 50 gallon tank, and I've been wanting to give him some more space for a while now. So one day I was just on Craigslist looking to see what was available, and I came across this tank. And I was especially excited because someone was getting rid of this tank for free. They had already rehomed the dragon, those people didn't want the tank, he had to move, so he needed to get rid of this tank as soon as possible. And this tank is 4 feet long by 2 feet wide, 2.5 feet tall, custom built wood tank. I was so shocked that he was getting rid of it for free. I was so excited. The one catch though was that he was getting rid of it in its current condition and he did not have any time to clean it. And I was just not prepared for the amount of work that I would be putting into this tank in order to get it move-in ready for Genji. The before picture that you see in the video, that's actually after we had shoveled out about 100 pounds worth of sand that was in this enclosure that was dirty and needed to be discarded. We couldn't even move the tank before removing any of the sand. And in the end, I think I only ended up spending about $100 to $120 to renovate this tank, so overall it was totally worth it. It was a lot of work though. So if you're someone who's looking to upgrade your reptile space and you don't want to dish out $400 to do so, I highly recommend looking at Craigslist or Facebook and see if there's something there that you could turn into something great for your reptile. Just a reminder that this is my first tank DIY. I am by no means an expert, so I highly recommend doing your research if you are in a similar situation. And I hope that this video helps inspire your own bearded dragon tank setup ideas. So without further ado, let's get into it.
All right, so this is the tank that we're working with, and this is the tank that we're going to be working on cleaning out. Now, I just took out all of the original black matting that was in there, and I did that because that stuff is porous and there have been other dragons that have lived in here before, so I want to give this thing an entire deep clean, and I'm going to put my own matting, and I may even give it a new touch of paint. We'll see about that depending on how clean I get it. We'll be taking out this light in there. I'm pretty sure that's a T8 bulb in there, and the one that I use is a T5, and I think that's only an 18-inch, and the one that I use is a 22-inch. So regardless, that thing just has to go, and the people who built this enclosure, they did a great job, like quality-wise and customizing it, but it's almost a little too custom, if you know what I mean, because it's really hard to make adjustments to it without having to just rip everything out. We're going to be putting our 22-inch all the way across the top here so that the entire tank gets an even spread of UVB. And I'm gonna get all of this sand out. There was 100 pounds of sand in this tank that we have slowly been shoveling out with this Tupperware container. I should hopefully be getting a shop vac here soon so that we can get the rest of the sand out and I can continue doing a deep clean. And so some other cool features about this one is it does have sliding glass doors, which I pulled out and we put those over here. And it does have some vents on the side cut in. The only spot I really have for a basking bulb is that one little mesh opening, and they didn't make any other mesh openings on the top, so any lights that I'm gonna want to add, which I'm at least going to want to add my CHE bulb on this side over where the vent is at. We're gonna drill in a hole on that side so we can get, you know, just another option for lighting over on this side as well, because my basking bulb is just not going to be hot enough. Like, he's going to get a nice hot spot there, but I'm just worried about the ambient temperature, and so having another option for heat over here will help me just have better control over the heat on this thing, because this thing is huge. Calculated it to be a 160 gallon enclosure, and I've just got a lot of work to do. So I will show you what it looks like as soon as I start getting it cleaned out. All right, so quick update. I am absolutely going to paint this. It needs to be resealed. So we are going to paint and reseal, and we're going to use this DryLok Extreme. It's a waterproofer. It's built for concrete and masonry and basements. However, I've just looked at a lot of videos to figure out how to do this, what's the best way to go about painting and sealing it. And these were the products that kept popping up the most often. I do need to allow this to cure for 5 to 7 days before I can put Genji in. So I'm going to probably do 2 to 3 coats of that. But the first thing I need to do is I need to sand everything. And I think sanding it will help get a lot of this excess dirt. Like that's not like mold or anything. It's just dirt. It's just old like poop that's been stuck there, and I'm going to maybe put a link in the description to some of the videos I watched about these. It just seems like a lot of people who build enclosures from scratch use these, and I've got my painting supplies here next to me and some black trash bags underneath me. So sanding it first, and then I'm going to vacuum all the sanding and extra sand that came out, and then we'll get to painting. So excited. Pretty good job getting all of that gunk that was out of that corner there and all of that gunk that was out in the back. Oh, I really don't know how I'm gonna paint that. I am wearing a mask because I've been using bleach and between with the sander, and I just cannot for the life of me get the rest of that gunk out of that corner. So I'm just gonna sand it a little bit more, and then we're gonna be ready to paint. If you're doing this at home, I'm gonna show you how I'm doing this, you know, step by step, but please like do your research. I think I got it for the most part pretty clean to the point where I'm happy with. That adhesive over there is just impossible. I'm hoping that I can just paint over it, and we will go from there. So on to the next step, which is painting. All right, so full disclosure, I have not really ever painted anything before, so this is all very new to me, but so far it looks like it's going on very, very well. I was worried I didn't have the right brush for the job, and honestly, I probably still don't have the right brush for the job, but it's actually going on quite nicely, and I did grab a paintbrush to get those corners back there, but yeah, just like, look how like pretty and white it is compared to the rest of the tank. Like it's gonna really, really help this tank out a lot. All right, so the first coat of paint is complete, and I only went up to about halfway because I kind of have to like stick my head in there in order to do all of this, and I didn't want to get paint in my hair right now. Plus I wanted to see how this bottom layer would dry first, so I went and did all of the steps, and I painted underneath them too. It looks like I need to get the side right there, so I'm going to go back and see, and this is kind of helpful because now I can actually see like what areas I missed. I'm going to let this dry. I'm probably just going to let it dry overnight, and we'll do this more tomorrow. All right, this is how she looks after coat 2, and it already looks so much better and so much cleaner. I have decided I am going to do a third coat, and then I need to wait several days, 5 to 7 days for it to cure, and I think I need to wait for it to cure in order to silicone it. I'll have to do some more research on that, but yeah, I might as well just play it safe, and I'm going to do one more coat on it tomorrow. I actually went up to the ceiling this time. I'm not going to paint the ceiling, I've decided. I don't really have a reason to, and unfortunately I got some paint on the outside. That's okay, we'll figure something out for that later, but yeah, looking so much better. Okay, so we've got 3 coats of DryLok on it. It's completely cured. It's been about a week. We have our caulking gun. We have our 100% silicone one, no additives, just straight silicone. Definitely want to do your research depending on your project and depending on the animal that you have, if you're doing a terrarium or an aquarium. So many different silicone types, but this is the one that we landed with. So we're going to go ahead and get started with sealing this whole tank, and then hopefully Genji will have his home here ready to go. Okay, I apologize for the lighting, but it is finally where it's supposed to be. We got it moved up into the apartment, so we are now going to move on to the decorating and the installing of the lights phase. So I already went ahead and drew a line. I don't know if you can see it, it's pretty dark, but I drew a line where I'm going to be installing the UVB light. And I'm putting it at kind of an angle because my thought process is, since it's such a deep tank and it's such a tall tank, I wanted to put it at an angle instead of just flat up against the back. I wanted to put it, you know, kind of at an angle so that the lower levels would get some UVB light as well. Here's the fixture. I have the bulb. I just took the bulb out so that I can handle the fixture a little bit, you know, so that I'm not breaking the bulb. I have my matting. I'm going to put everything in it tonight, and then I'm going to make a separate video for when we move Genji in, because he's asleep right now. It's nighttime. That's how I'm able to handle all of the lights. I had to wait for them to all turn off and cool off so that I can handle them and move them. I'll go ahead and I'm going to start putting in the lights and putting in the decorations. For those wondering how I'm going to install this light fixture, I found these clips that can go onto the back of a T5 light fixture, and believe me, you have no idea what I went through to find these clips. And I ended up just finding them on Amazon, and I really only need 4 of them. They're really small, so I'm going to do 2 on this side of the fixture and then 2 on this side of the fixture. So I have to take these off, and then I'm going to put in, I'm just going to screw it into the top with these tiny little white screws, these flathead screws, and I'm hoping that works. It should work, so I'm going to go ahead and do that next. So this thing, I ended up only doing 2 little brackets because these little things are really a pain in the butt to install, especially if you don't have any power tools. So I'm just going to go with 2 because it was actually quite secure. I'm very happy with that, and I think I am going to secure that cord back there a little bit better. I just have it here right now for testing purposes, and I did put this little black slate under the basking spot because I am a little concerned that it's not going to get hot enough. I felt like it was going to be too much space, but I actually have my hand here. I'm feeling it get quite warm already, so I'm very glad that that's going to be a good enough space, because I was worried that it wasn't going to be enough. It's way up there, and I think I put the UVB in the perfect spot, honestly. Like, he's going to be here basking, like he's going to get plenty of UVB right there. It's got enough spread to where it goes back there, like you can kind of see the shadows, like where it's hitting. Obviously down there you're going to have the least amount of it, but oh, so far this is turning out so nicely. I'm going to go ahead and keep putting some stuff in here. And here it is. This is the almost final product. I'm still going to add in his bridge and his hammock, but for right now, I think I'm ready to move him in. So I waited a little bit for the hot spot to get hot enough, and I'm going to make another video on moving him in and bringing him into his new home. So thank you guys so much for joining me through this process. I'm going to put everything materials wise that I used for this renovation in the description, and definitely feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this and want to see more Genji content. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.